Going on, Falcon fans? This is your boy Recondo coming back at you with another video. Hope everybody enjoyed playoff divisional round weekend. Still got one more game to go. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers going against the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of biased going for the Tampa Bay Bucks because I just don't like Cowboys. So I'm going to root for Tom Brady. Unfortunately, I don't like him either, but I'm going to root for Tom Brady tonight in that game. But guys, of course, this is about the Atlanta Falcons. We're going to talk real quick about the elephant in the room about Lamar Jackson. The rumor going out that the Falcons, according to one report, that the Falcons could be fronting the line to get Lamar Jackson if the Baltimore Ravens decide to trade him. So we're going to talk about that real quick, and then we're going to talk about this our team going for the defensive coordinator search. They're really, taking their time, doing a lot of interviews, trying to make sure they really not just jumping the gun and hire somebody real quick because they feel like they need to bring somebody in that position. They're real methodical about it, so I like the way they're handling it. But we're going to talk about some of the guys that's been reported so far that they want to talk to, and I'm going to give you my opinion on who I would love to for the Falcons to actually bring in, and we'll see what happens. But that's what we're going to talk about today. So guys, you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit notification bell so you know I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys out here to talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in and hear me talk about these Atlanta Falcons. Like I said, all season we're gonna be talking about this. I took some days off. Last time I was on here, I think it was on Monday. And talking about the team. Actually, we actually it was Tuesday because the Falcons had a press conference, end of the year press conference with Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith. So I want to wait till that comes out and talk about what the guys got to do coming up in the near future. So that's where we're at. But guys, please share my video throughout. More people come in and we can chat up all off season about these Atlanta Falcons and see what we're going to be able to do. What's going on? EQRC, will Dan Quinn be the name in the hat? I doubt it. I don't even think Dan Quinn would actually come back to Atlanta. He probably felt like he did enough not to get fired, right? Took team to the Super Bowl and things like that. But Dan Quinn more likely probably be a head coach before he would be not be a defensive coordinator. And I would think that Jerry Jones probably would do the same thing. We want to talk about the Denver Broncos, how they blocked the request to talk to their defensive coordinator right now, even though they don't have a head coach in place. So Dan Quinn, to my opinion, probably wouldn't even. First of all, I don't know if he'll take the job, and second of all, I think he'll be a head coach before he would leave Dallas from that defensive coordinator position to come back to Atlanta. So that's where we're at with that. So that's what I think about that. All right, guys. So like I said, the first thing I'm gonna talk about today is Lamar Jackson. And honestly, I really don't like talk about hypotheticals and things like that because I feel like until it happens, I mean, you can go so many scenarios down a rabbit hole to what could possibly happen, if they would go get somebody like Lamar Jackson and things like that. So I'm really don't like talking about this, but since it's out there and it could be a possibility, we have to just think about the things that it would take for the Atlanta Falcons to actually make this happen. The biggest thing is that, of course, I always say this, especially in NFL, you need a franchise quarterback. Lamar Jackson is only 25 years old. The fact that the Atlanta Falcons tried to go after Deshaun Watson last year would really make you think that, yes, they would definitely probably try to go after Lamar Jackson if he was on the market, like I said, as a trade candidate. So I don't think this is like a surprise that they would do this. Just the mere fact of what they tried to do last year, right? And this was where they did not have any cap space or anything like that. They was trying to go out and get their franchise quarterback of the future. Lamar Jackson is 25, already a league MVP, has so much potential to get even better, perhaps, right? Those are the pros. The cons are he has not finished a season in the last 2 years. It would cost a boatload of money for the Atlanta Falcons to actually sign him, which would definitely um, go into our cap space that we have. Also, we definitely probably have to give about 3 first-round picks, so your draft capital for the future will be really hindered as well. So those are some of the things we definitely have to think about going to get Lamar Jackson. But like I said, you have to have a franchise quarterback in this league. That's just one of the things I think for any NFL team to actually want to have, long-term longevity as a good team, you got to have a quarterback. You just think about some of the teams that had quarterbacks so many years, how they was always playing in the playoffs. And go back to Steelers when they had Big Ben. You go back to the Patriots when they had um, Tom Brady. You go back to the Colts and they had Peyton Manning, John Elway, um, Denver Broncos. I mean, go on and go on. You just get a point I'm making. If you got a good franchise quarterback, um, you have the potential to actually be playing in the tournament every year. That's what you want to do. That's how you establish to be a pretty good team that everybody has to worry about every year. That's what Atlanta Falcons want to do for 14 years. But just the team, the way it was built around him, just could never really be consistent enough to actually be in the playoff every year. But we had a lot of success with Matty Ice. And that's what I mean. We never really had an issue where we need to go out and find that franchise quarterback. We do not want to be the Cleveland Browns trying to figure out are the New York Jets, the Detroit Lions, Chicago Bears. We don't want to be one of those teams just trying to figure out who our franchise quarterback going to be. So the fact that Lamar Jackson's out there, I understand why they would want to do it. They mentioned this the second part of their plan. I think this would really change their plan a little bit because, like I said, the draft capital, the cap space, all the stuff they would have to really consider to actually go out and get Lamar Jackson. So, personally, I like the trajectory we going on as a team with Desmond Ritter. Like I said, 4 starts is definitely not enough to go ahead and write him off. But like I said, a former NFL MVP. You just imagine how Arthur Smith could use him in his offense, franchise quarterback. If he's there, if it's available, they have to go after it. It just would be kind of stupid not to try to go get a franchise caliber quarterback. But in my opinion, the Baltimore Ravens would really be dumb to actually trade Lamar Jackson. I know they're apart right now on the contract negotiations, and I would never say never because this is a business. It's NFL, and they feel like they do not want to give Lamar Jackson what he's owed. The talks right now, they probably going to franchise tag him regardless, and then if they can't come up with a deal, then they would more than likely go ahead and make that trade. So those are some of the things we definitely have to look at. But I feel that cooler heads is going to prevail, and Lamar Jackson is going to stay in Baltimore. That's just my opinion. We'll have to see. But if Atlanta Falcons do get into that sweepstakes, we just have to, like I said, guys, I'm a Falcon fan, so I'm not going to argue about having Lamar Jackson on our squad. Even though I would think it would hinder the build of this team if they decide to do that. So that's just the way I look at it. I'm sorry. I don't think we need a quarterback, just another veteran receiver, defensive line. I agree with you 100%. Like I said, I agree. I mean, we do not need a quarterback, but Lamar Jackson is proven. Like I said, he's a league MVP. If you just go look at the difference between the Baltimore Ravens when he's on the field, he's off the field. definitely that's a different type of offense, but utilizing the passing game, the weapons that we have here already in Atlanta, along with implementing Lamar Jackson style into the system would really be good for the Atlanta Falcons. So, and like I said, he's so young. Like he's not a veteran guy, only 25. So, yes, the risk of his injury and things like that, running the ball, all this stuff. Yeah, I agree with, but I agree, but if like I said, if they want to do it, it's going to be a lot of other teams that's going to try to go after him as well. The Jets was mentioned. You got to think about those teams. It's going to be it won't be Atlanta Falcons will not be the only team trying to go out and get it. I mean, the New Orleans Saints don't have a really solid guy, franchise guy there. The Carolina Panthers don't have a franchise guy there, so it would be a sweepstakes. Whoever's going to give the biggest ransom, that's probably where they want to go. And do Atlanta Falcons want to give up like all their draft capital, where there's so many holes with this team they need to build? Do they really want to do that? So that's what I'm saying. And I agree with you. We need a speedster. We need somebody that can take the top off of the receiver position. If we can do that, to put alongside Kyle Pitts and Drake London, that would definitely be something special. But we'll just have to see where these guys go. Guy, like I said, I don't see this happening, but since it's out there, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it. Definitely want to hear you guys' opinion on that. Please provide any comments. And let me know what you think about the Falcons potentially being in the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes if the Baltimore Ravens decide to trade him this offseason. So that's one of the things, definitely one of the topics out there that could be up, right? We haven't heard anything from the Atlanta Falcons organization, just talking points. And if the Baltimore Ravens decide to go that route, which in my opinion, I would just don't understand why they would decide to do that. But I have seen crazier things before. So this is not the same situation last year with Deshaun Watson, where he had so many issues down in Houston. He wanted out of Houston. Lamar has not came out and said that he wanted out of Baltimore. It's the fact that they did, it's a contract negotiation. These things happen. Two sides, at war right now, and pretty sure they're upset because he decided not to play and put himself in more harm. He said he wasn't 100% healthy. So whatever you want to think about that, I think if he would have had a contract signed, he probably would have played in a playoff game yesterday. The fact that he didn't, you can understand both sides of of that. So that's where I'm at with Lamar Jackson. Please, guys, let me know what you think about that. Should the Atlanta Falcons give up their future draft capital and salary cap to bring in the former NFL MVP Lamar Jackson to the Atlanta Falcons? Be exciting, Vic 2.0. I get it, all that, but is that the right thing for the Atlanta Falcons to do? Let me know your thoughts, guys. You said no. I agree with you 100%. Like I said, I'm on your side. I don't think they should, but I'm not gonna be really upset either, because like I said, the guys be dynamic for us. Long they don't have to give up any of our guys like a Kyle Pitts, or something like that. Then we would have to talk, right? So, all right, guys, that's all enough about Lamar Jackson. Please let me give me your thoughts on that. What I really wanted to come in and talk to you today about was the defensive coordinators, the search for the Atlanta Falcons. That's the big topic right now. We definitely need to know who our defensive coordinator is going to be moving forward for the Atlanta Falcons. Simply because you want to know it's going to change a little bit. It's not going to be exactly like Dean Pease wanted. Arthur Smith want guys to be able to be multiple, though. He do not want to, get guys pigeonholed into playing just the 3-4, the 4-3. He want to be able to move guys around. That's the kind of guys they're drafting. So whoever the defensive coordinator they bring in need to be able to be multiple and be able to change, from game to game to bring up a scheme to stop the opposing offenses. So that's what we're looking for in the defensive coordinators. That's why I think it's really, really good for them to take their time to get the right kind of guy in, so they can be able to bring that kind of mindset to the Atlanta Falcons. The first guy is no order on who I would like. At the end, I'll give you guys who I feel like probably be one of the best candidates to bring in. But these just some of the guys right now that the Atlanta Falcons have already requested and have interest in. The first guy we're going to talk about is Al Holcomb from the Carolina Panthers. And his resume is intern defensive coordinator for 2022. He was the run game coordinator from 2020 to 2022. The Cleveland Browns linebacker coach, game pass coordinator for the Carolina Panthers, and he was a linebacker coach in 2017. Defensive assistant for the New York Giants. And remember, we talk about relationships. So he has no ties to this coaching staff at the Atlanta Falcons, which is not a reason not to bring him in. Just going to throw that out there. But the Carolina Panthers, if you've been watching this team for the years, that's pretty much the staple of their team is their defense. Really solid defense. Really, really hard to move the ball on. Really interested to see a guy that probably wasn't on a lot of people's radars, which is why it's good for the Falcons to go out and look, make sure they're not looking on every stone, make sure they get the right guy in. So a guy like Al Holcomb that's coming in from the Carolina Panthers, going off that stout defense they had, let's see what he's all about. Yes, Carolina does have a good D. I agree with you as well. So like I said, this guy right here, we might not be a guy that was on our radar that a lot of people really thought about, but right now Al Holcomb is a guy that they have requested to speak with, and we'll see what happens with him and see what his philosophy is going to be. If he can bring that kind of ferociousness to the defense that the Carolina Panthers have shown throughout these years, that's the staple of their team right now, their defensive side of the ball. So Al Holcomb is one of the guys that we definitely could have some interest in. They can say more interested in Wilkes than Holcomb. Yes, of course, Steve Wilkes is the intern head coach right now. It look like they're trying to go another route. I heard Sean Payton, man, I don't want Sean Payton back in our division. I don't think he would take that job anyway, but that was one of the guys, and they was trying to interview Vic Fangio too. It's another guy that defense coaches pretty good defenses as well. They already stout. That would really, really be tough for the Atlanta Falcons to go up against that kind of dynamic. But Wilkes, I agree with you. If the Carolina Panthers decide to bring him back, that could be another guy that the Atlanta Falcons can definitely look at and see if Steve Wilkes would like to, stick it to the Panthers since they decide to go another direction and not make him the head coach. But I agree with you. Steve Wilkes is another guy that they should consider, but he's not one of the guys that they have requested right now. But what other better they're going to get their intern defensive coordinator, for that same Carolina Panther team, coaching up under Steve Wilkes to see what kind of philosophy he has. So, and the next guy that we're going to talk about is Brian Flores, who's probably one of my favorite candidates right now, simply because he coached up on the Bill Belichick, and then that Miami Dolphin defense, and when he was a head coach there, was pretty solid. So Brian Flores is definitely one of the guys. His airspace right now, he's the Steelers senior defense assistant and linebacker coach. Of course, he coached with the Miami Dolphins from 2019 to 2021. Like I said, he was a Patriot linebacker coach and the defensive play caller for Bill Belichick, Patriot safety coach, and he was a Patriot defense. So he has a lot of um knowledge playing up under Bill Belichick, right? Ties to me, ties back to Dean Pease, who also coached up on the Bill Belichick as well. Of course, those two guys wasn't there at the same time, but that gives me just looking at his defenses in New England and in Miami, and looking at what the Pittsburgh Steelers was able to do this year. This probably be one of my favorite hires right now if they decide to bring in a guy like Brian Flores. I think this would be like a home run hire for the Atlanta Falcons if they can actually pull this off. The Atlanta Falcons is not the only team that's actually looking at Brian Flores now. I think the Cleveland Browns is trying to interview him as well. So we'll see how this goes. But if the Atlanta Falcons can bring in a guy like Brian Flores, I think it will really, really be a good hire for the Atlanta Falcons. And the truth be told, if they do bring in a guy like Brian Flores, I don't think he would be there long because he already has head coaching experience, and if he's able to turn around the Atlanta Falcons defense, he'd probably be right back out the door here in the near future. But this will be a home run hire for the Atlanta Falcons to take place of Dean Pease, to bring in that philosophy, like I said, from a Bill Belichick, the things that he was able to do with the Miami Dolphins. I would definitely like a guy like Brian Flores. So from the list today that we'll talk about right now, Brian Flores probably would be one of my number one candidates that we can actually look at. Had rumor last night that Tepper really wants Johnson, the Lions OC. There you go, right there. So we don't have to worry about that. Don't have to worry about because I wouldn't think that Fangio and Peyton would go there anyway. But there you go. Well, Fangio could go if Lion OC decided to go to that team. But Floyd said Flores is the pick, my number one position. There you go. Like I said, I agree with you. It's a home run hire if they was able to pull this off and able to get him. It's more, maybe attractive jobs out there. Like I said, the Cleveland Browns right now on paper probably have a better defense than the Atlanta Falcons. But if you're one of those coaches, want to be able that you could turn a team around, this is the job for you. Come in, guys. They got a lot of cap space. They're gonna be able to bring in more talent this year. You got young guys that's gonna be improving, and getting better from the development. So this is a young defense that coach like Brian Flores can come in and show what he's able to do. To, like I said, turn a team like the Atlanta Falcons defense around. So I agree with you. This is a home run pick for me. The next guy on the list is Jerry Gray. Everybody like, who's that? Jerry Gray right now with the Green Bay Packers. And with the Green Bay Packers, he was a defensive back coach and the passing game coordinator. He was a defensive back coach in 2020. Viking defensive back coach in 2014, 2019, Titans defensive coordinator in 2011 to 2013, Seahawks defensive back coach in 2010, Washington defensive back coach in 2006, 2009, Bills defensive coordinator in 2001 to 2005, and the Titans defensive back coach from 1999 to 2000s. So if you look at his track record, definitely has a lot to do with secondary experience, being able to stop the pass. That's where his knowledge is going to be at. He has been a defense coordinator before, so it would not be something that would be new territory for him. I think he's been a defensive coordinator on 3 different occasions. So this guy has a lot of potential to come in I haven't heard a lot about him. Doesn't mean that he's not a good fit for this team, but you just would have to do some more homework and see, what he's able to bring. Not sure what his philosophy would be. Um, like I said, a lot of experience, playing with the passing defense because he was defensive back coach at least 5 different times, the defense coordinator like 3 different times. So being in the league all the time, being coaching with a lot of teams, he does have ties with Arthur Smith as well. He coached with Arthur Smith back when he was with the Washington Redskins at the time and the Tennessee Titans. So they have a little relationship with one another there. If Arthur Smith would able to bring him in, it's not somebody we have to get to know. He already has a relationship with him, so that's something you have to consider as well. But he's not one of my picks, like I said, but has a lot of experience. A newcomer up, somebody new to come in. We sometimes we get enamored by just retreading guys that been with teams and get fired and get hired and stuff like that. This is a guy that gets an opportunity that we haven't heard from that come in, and you never know what he's going to be able to do. So I love the way the Falcons is broadening their search. It's not just going off of one or two guys. They're really looking at everybody that they're thinking about bringing in. And Jerry Gray is just another guy. I put him in the same category with Al Holcomb, somebody that you definitely have to think about. Maybe he impressed this regime with Terry Fontenot, Arthur Smith, and might be somebody that we'll have to see if they decide to bring in as higher, right? All right, all right. Next guy on the list is Ryan Nielsen. Ryan Nielsen is with the New Orleans Saints right now. Of course, those ties are with Terry Fontenot. But we cannot deny the defensive excellence by the New Orleans Saints over the couple of years, right? They've been a pretty good solid defense for years now. His experience is the Saints co-defensive coordinator and defensive line coach, which is what we need. Defensive line help, right? We want to be able to do that. Saints assistant head coach and defensive line coach in 2021. Saint defensive line coach. So his experience all with the New Orleans Saints, mostly on the defensive line, something that the Falcons can definitely really use. So you see the contrast here. The last coach we just talked about, Jerry Gray, a lot in the secondary. This coach right here focus more on the defensive line. You can bring both of these guys in, right? Think about it. Bring both of these guys in. It'll be perfect world, but you won't be able to do that. But like I said, this right here, of course, the ties would be probably more with Terry Fontenot, not with Arthur Smith. He also worked with Ryan Pace as well, another guy. So this is definitely like I said, somebody that the Atlanta Falcons definitely familiar with, somebody they could bring in. And if we could take something away from the New Orleans Saints to make them worse, I'm all for that as well. So we'll have to see. But this is just another guy. You love the different names, the different search, because this lets you know that the Atlanta Falcons is just not going out and hiring the flashy name to make it sound like they got their guy. They're really, really doing their homework, making sure they get the right guy to come in to build the team defense that they want them to have. So this is awesome. I love the way they're just going back and forth with each team. Each guy, and trying to figure out the best guy. And just like here, he said here, anything to hurt the Aints. That's what I'm talking about, man. Nathan Floyd says number 1, Flores, number 2 is Wilkes, and number 3, Ilfil 4, Frangio, and Gray. There you go. See, so you have some of the guys. I'm gonna talk about Evero in just a minute. Fangio. I don't know if they actually requested to talk to Fangio yet. That would definitely be somebody that I would thought they would have considered And then Wilkes is another guy that I thought I understand your yanks on Wilkes, but I think Wilkes more trying to be a head coach. At this point, we'll have to see what they're going to decide to do with that. But anyway, like I said, Ron Nielsen, another guy they could really definitely bring in. What's the name? Might actually Jordan Cameron could actually be out of New Orleans this year. Might be looking for a new home. You know, you bring in a guy like Ron Nielsen, might be able to convince him to come play for the Atlanta Falcons and see how that turns out. I don't know how much I like that. You know, sometimes guys that you've been hating for so long on different teams that they come be on your team, you like, okay, I guess. But you know, that's one of the things. Even though Jordan Cameron Jordan is definitely a little, you know, in the long in the tooth, has been playing a long time, but I would look at him as a guy like when they brought in Dwight Freeney to teach some of these young guys how to be a better pass rusher or something like that. So that's one of the things you definitely think about when they bring in a guy like Ryan Nielsen. The next guy on the list, we just talked about him. Nathan talked about him, is Ejiro Evero. Hope I said that correctly. However, the Denver Broncos actually denied the request for the Atlanta Falcons to talk to him. He was one of the guys, definitely, if he was able to get snatched, I would really, really like him. If you go back and look at that Denver Broncos defense over the last, 3 years, it's really been good. Ejiro experience. He's the Broncos defensive coordinator right now, which is probably why they would not let him go, because they don't have a head coach, but they would love probably keep him on as the defensive coordinator. The Rams secondary coach and passing game coordinator in 2021, the Rams safety coach in 2017 to 2020, Packers defensive quality control coach in 2016, 49er defense assistants in 2014 to 2015, 49ers offense assistants in 2012 to 2013, 49ers quality control coach 2011, and the Buccaneer defensive quality control coach in 2007 too. So he's have been all around. Of course, that's Hackett brought him around because he probably had experience with some of those other stops. But of course, he got canned, but Evero stayed there, and the defense did not did not drop off from coming in from Dick Fangio to Evero. So Evero is definitely a guy that I would love. If I couldn't get Brian Flores right now, my number one guy, I would definitely look at Evero. Would be the next guy on the list of the guys that the Atlanta Falcons have shown interest in. Of course, another guy like Dick Fangio. Vic Fangio is another guy that definitely would consider. Jim Schwartz is another guy that I would really consider. He has a lot of experience, 30 years of NFL experience. It's another guy that they probably could bring in as well. But Evero would be my number 2 guy at this moment. And then last but not least, guys, the last guy right now that's currently being reported on that the Atlanta Falcons have shown interest in is Jim Haslett. They have not requested a request to actually talk to him yet, but the interest is there. Experience. He's the Titan inside linebacker coach in 2021, Bengals linebacker coach, Washington defensive coordinator, Rams intern head coach and defensive coordinator, Saints head coach, Steelers defensive coordinator, Saints defensive coordinator, Saints linebacker coach, Rams linebacker coach, and NFL linebacker. So, of course, the ties here was with Arthur Smith in Tennessee, and it's likely to overlap with other coaches' very long career. So, Jim Haslett, definitely a guy that could show interest in. Another guy that's been in the league a long time, a little on the older side. Will be interested in the Falcons. Like I said, instead of just retrading guys over and over again, give another guy a chance. A guy like Brian Flores, who's coached a while, but still fairly young guy. Evero, another guy. If you want to go older, a guy like Jerry Gray, somebody Hazlitt here who just talked about. But guys, that's my list for our defensive coordinators right now. Um, in my opinion, I would go with Flores, Evero. Um, if we had to just go off the list that we were going, Gray would probably be third. Um, then I'll probably go Nielsen, and then Hassan. So, and don't get me wrong, Holcomb is definitely a guy you really can consider. The way that Panthers defense um, has been playing throughout the years, but for me, um, let's get some fresh blood in the NFL from a coaching standpoint. Um, I think that's one of the things that we definitely need to consider is bringing in some new blood. We had a guy who coached for 50 years. Definitely going to miss. I would love to see him play his last year, his contract, to see what he really able to do once he gets some the mixture of veterans and young guys that he need to make this defense go. But unfortunately, Dean Pease decided to leave early. So let's bring some new blood in and see what we able to do. Get these guys the tools what they need, and see what they're able to do. I can't wait till they go ahead and make the decision. I'm not sure if they're going to actually add more names to this list. If they do, I'll definitely come out and talk about the names that they add. In my opinion, those guys, Tracy Rocker should get an interview. Has history with Smith, Atlanta native, equals D, line coach for the last 2 years. I have to look at him. I will take a look at Rockers. Thanks for that. Thanks for that info. But yes, I would definitely think they should bring in some new guys, right? I think you guys agree with me. Sometimes, like I said, retraining the guys. You think about the the the, the list of young coaches that have given the chance of here late, like of Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, Arthur Smith. Um, a lot of these young guys really have shown what they're able to do in this NFL and how they're able to show they pay their dues. Definitely, personally, they could get some more black guys some opportunity as well because I'm pretty sure it's a lot of young, talented black coaches out there that can actually you know come in and be great head coaches. But of course, the way it works now, you have to start out being a coordinator first. And in some cases you don't. You just come right in and get hired right into a head coaching job. But I think it's time to bring in some fresh blood, some new coaches. Stop retrading coaches over and over again, um, and let some of these young guys come in and show what they're able to do. Bring in some of that fresh ideas where you'll be able to be aggressive. Because I want what I would love to have for the Atlanta Falcons defense this year is a more aggressive defense, right? Don't sit back. Um, you dictate the offense because you're going to be aggressive. You're going to make them get rid of the ball fast. You're going to make them pressure. You're going to put a lot of pressure on that quarterback. That's what we need. Of course, you need the players to be able to do things like that. I mean, you're going to have corners that be able to play more man to man, secondary. So it kind of ties in, but I want a coach that innovative and be aggressive. And I do love to how Dean Pease had the multiple mindset with his defense. Right, every week he was trying to change up, do something new. That way you don't get stagnant and offenses start to figure you out. So, um, also in the College Football Hall of Fame, I'm definitely gonna look up Rocker. And I'll give you my thoughts on him and any other guys that you guys think about for this defensive coordinator search would really be great when we talk about this. So guys, I'm back at it this week. Be on the lookout. I'm gonna start talking about some of the free agents that the Falcons potentially bring in and some of the holes that we got. I think what Terry Fontenot said is really no position that we really satisfied with. So I'll talk about each position from a free agent standpoint. Money this year is not a problem. So I'm gonna talk about every last one of them. Last year, I didn't want to go talk about too many guys because I know we couldn't afford them, right? But this year, we don't have to have that problem, right? We can go out and I can talk about every free agent, no matter what their market value is, and see if they're a good fit for the Atlanta Falcons. So this year is definitely different than any other year for the Atlanta Falcons, right? Unless we go back to our first topic tonight, they decide to go make a move for somebody like Lamar Jackson. Well, then that would definitely eat up into our cap space. You know, Terry Fortunato can definitely structure the contracts to make it keep us to have a lot of salary cap for this year. But you know, we'll just have to see how that all goes out. Once again, I still believe that Lamar definitely is going to end up staying in Baltimore. So, guys, let me know what you think about these defensive coordinator searches so far that the Falcons. Give me your top three, who you would go with, or on this list, or any other guys that you think would definitely be a good fit for this Atlanta Falcons um, team moving forward. That's all I have today, guys. Let me know your thoughts on Lamar Jackson. Let me know your thoughts on the Falcons defensive coordinator search so far. And this is your boy Recondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.